These are juvenile mangroves. These are things that just got put in place, established.
Well, to the untrained eye, they look fine.
Untrained eye, yeah, but all you have to do is touch the structure and you can pull up, and where there shouldn't be oil, it's coating of oil, fully coated. And again, these are root structures that allow the plants to breathe.
Will Louisiana's fragile wetlands ever be the same again? Ecologists from Tulane University were down there checking the damage this week.
Dr. Michael Bloom is one of them. He's an assistant professor of ecology and evolutionary biology, and he joins us now. Dr. Bloom, I want to start with something you told one of our producers over the phone, and that is that you think that the way the boom is being laid is incorrect, and it's causing more problems for the coastline than if it were being laid correctly. Explain.
Well, so there are certainly lots of folks on the ground laying boom. There's an enormous amount of boom in place. The real concern is whether or not it's been anchored well and it's been maintained. So if you look on the coastline, there are a number of instances and examples where you see boom out of place on marshes instead of the water, indicating that it's not functioning, it's not serving its purpose. So the question is whether or not...
Go ahead.
I'm sorry. The question is whether or not there are enough folks on the ground with adequate training to effectively implement the boom and maintain it over time.
And Dr. Bloom, as we saw just a moment ago, you were with our correspondent Carrie Sanders touring this area of Grand Isle yesterday. Give us a progress report, a status report. We saw that the oil was evident there. How bad does it look to you?
That's right. So a lot of the concern has been focused on the beaches. Grand Isle has been a focus of the cleanup effort. The concern should potentially move inland into the marshes themselves. The back bays behind all the barrier islands, there are tidal inlets that allow oil to intrude and migrate inwards. And what we found yesterday was miles and miles inland, beyond the beaches, we see evidence of oil entering marshes.
You know, I want to ask you about this other aspect that it was another environmental science professor at LSU, Ed Overton, has been saying that a hurricane could actually be helpful to this situation in particular because it could spread out the oil a little bit, sort of be a natural dispersant. What do you buy that theory?
That's certainly an idea that's been proposed. There are two sides to that. One, certainly in terms of physically breaking up the oil, volatilizing the material. That is certainly a benefit of having a hurricane pass through the area. The negative side of that situation, the concern has been raised that if oil is volatilized or broken up, it could potentially become an aerosol and be carried inwards and potentially cause or be a concern for human health.
And finally, I know there are several endangered species impacted by this Gulf spill. I mean, how serious is this? And in terms of endangered species, are you talking about an effect that could lead to extinction?
We see species like the brown pelican that were just delisted from the Federally Endangered Species Act status. And the concern is that many of these species, like the brown pelican, are at a threshold of recovery, and events like what we're seeing now could potentially push them back behind that threshold and potentially cause collapse. So certainly there is major concern that species that are on the recovery or perhaps just recovering will in fact be lost.
All right, Dr. Michael Bloom, Assistant Professor of Ecology and Evolutionary Sciences at Tulane University. Thanks so much for joining us this morning.
You're welcome.